and welcome to Play Hard and Love Big Radio. My name is Katie Clark, and Play Hard and Love Big Radio is the official the official podcast of Spotted Dog Yoga and Sup in Folsom, California. I am joined today by Bonnie Walker again, which is a treat because I just interviewed you not that long ago. And Bonnie is one of our teachers, and she is also a friend. I'm so excited to have Bonnie on. The reason that we're doing this second special podcast is to talk about our upcoming program starting October 1st, which is 40 Days to Personal Revolution. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about, Bonnie, is just your experience of your very first 40 Days to Personal Revolution program.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. My very first 40 days, when I think back to it, um, I was new to yoga, so it was all things exciting and new. But when I think back, I realized that my first experience was very intellectual because that's where I was at the time. You give me something to read, you give me questions to answer, and I think my answers to my inquiry questions, was volumes. It's what I did. I would spend the week um, reading and writing. Um, and so I love that. And it's what I got out of that first experience was more really getting deep into my head, which now I look at it like, wow, that was going the wrong way. But at the time, it was inspiring. I was reading things I hadn't read before. I was thinking about things in a different light and in a different way. But it almost seemed that the yoga and meditation got a little bit lost in it because I just dug so deeply into the inquiry and the writing and the reading. Not to judge it, nothing was wrong with that, but that was my first experience. So I don't think, looking back, that I felt it as much as I did it. I did my homework, I did the pieces, I read the part, and I loved every minute of it. But it was just a different experience than what it is for me since.
Yeah, and I think it's really important what you're pointing out, which is that anytime you do the program, you will get something different depending on where you are in your journey with
Mhm.
the practice of yoga and in your life. My first 40 day was a special one because I that's where I met Nick at a different yoga studio, and eh, beside the fact that I met Nick and we ended up being together forever and being married and having our own yoga studio, which is really special. The time of my life that I was in then was prior to the 40 day was like, um, gosh, I just feel like unhealthy. Like I was kind of I was like in my late 20s. So I was still kind of in like a partying kind of phase. Like, on the weekends, I would go out with my friends to bars and I was drinking a lot. And so in the 40 day, I gave up drinking and I really focused on the nutrition piece of the program and the yoga and all the things. And what I really got from my very first program was just like this really deep understanding of the importance of taking care of myself
Mhm.
and kind of like maturing for me, like I'm letting go of like a lifestyle that was more like college-esque and moving into a lifestyle where no, I don't want to, like, all the guys I meet at bars, or it's not working out, like all these relationships that I start with guys that I meet at bars don't work out, so I need to like do different things, meet people different places. And lo and behold, I did meet the person that I ended up marrying, my soulmate. So it's kind of interesting how that all ties together. But that was my experience of my first 40 days. So it was a big shift for me just in terms of lifestyle. Um, so I think that's a good segue to just talk about, like, well, first of all, how many 40 days to personal revolutions have you
I
done? Do you
I
know?
knew that was going to come up. I have done two before Spotted Dog existed, but I think I've done at least six or seven at Spotted Dog. For a while there, it was like, yeah, come at me. You got another one? I'm coming. No. And I've had my husband finally join. Both of my daughters have done a couple. And every time I do 40 days, um, now that I see the big picture of it, after the first time, I'm not saying there's no more surprises, but you're not caught off guard. It's like, I know the direction this will take in terms of themes and weeks and things like that. Um, so ever since then, what I've done, my journey, my yoga journey has changed so much. And I've found that once I got out of my head, not that I don't do the inquiry and answer the questions, but I bring 40 days more into my day to day. I think of, what presence means and what it means to let go of things that don't serve me. And I've gotten out of my head and lived it, much like you said, it's a real lifestyle. Finally, I live the lessons I've learned. And I think what I love about 40 days, like anything else, it's not the same old every time you take it. It's you need to be reminded, in one 40 day, I'll discover something or learn something, and to me, it's an aha moment. And of course, I'm going to remember that forever. And then 2 years later, I do 40 days and I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. So for me, 40 days is the constant rejuvenation of lessons I've learned, of lessons that perhaps I've learned, but I've let go. So every time I do 40 days, I'm super excited because I know something's going to come my way that I need, whether I know it or not. Something's going to come my way. And I never really know what it is. A couple of times I've done 40 days and I thought, okay, I'm going to focus on presence, or I'm going to focus on the diet. I'm going to focus, or the nutrition, and it's like I pre decide what I'm going to focus on. And more often than not, that's not what I end up being inspired by or changed by or transformed by. That was just me thinking I can preset my program, and you can't preset your program. What comes to you is what you're open to. Um, and it's why I'm really excited to do it again. I feel the need to do it again. I don't know if you understand that, but um, like when I reached out to you and said, is 40 day coming because I need to reset? I'm ready to do it again. This is the program I look to. And I've kind of walked through it a few times by myself, but it's not the same as doing it in a community. But this is the program I look to when I just need to kind of begin again. Life has come to be on automatic. What I'm doing is the same, and my brain isn't like waking up again anymore. And I always turn to 40 days. It's like, okay, let's go wake up again. So,
Yeah, it's really great that you bring that up. It's kind of like, I don't know, the way what you're saying, it makes me feel like it's kind of like a cleansing for me.
mm-hmm,
Like, I don't know, like I just feel always when it's done, like I feel like I've gotten rid of whatever there was that I didn't need to have happening in my life, and I'm more focused on what's important, what I should put my attention on, not what I have been putting my attention on. And the other thing that when you were speaking came up for me is that, because I mean, gosh, I've done probably one a year the whole time that I've been involved with yoga, which is like 14 years. So, and maybe sometimes twice a year. So, a lot of 40 days programs, and from a participant standpoint and from a facilitator standpoint. And when I facilitate, I do it as well. I'm not just,
right. Yeah.
there not doing it. But what I always get is from others.
Mm,
Like, I get the most from hearing other people share their insight. And not that I don't have my own, but I think sometimes hearing maybe a similar experience from someone else's mouth in their perspective helps me get really more clear about what my experience is. And so, like you said, it's such a different experience when you do it with a group versus by yourself, which you can. But it's just that added element of, man, we learned so much from other people. And I am just always so inspired by everyone else. And it also helps me stay committed to the
right.
program. like I feel accountable to the group in some way. So that helps me stay connected and in it with the folks that I'm doing it with. And I think that's a really good segue into the format of the program this time around. So I don't think I said at the beginning that the reason Bonnie and I are talking about this is because Bonnie is going to be facilitating the program. But let's talk a little bit about how the format is going to be this time around. It's a little bit different than we've done it before.
Okay, so we will be only in studio. So we apologize to all our Spotted Dog community that joins us virtually. We won't be doing it virtually this time. So we're going to be in studio, and we'll be using Baptiste's book, obviously. The format this time that is going to implement all the pieces of Baptiste yoga. We will be doing meditation, inquiry, and a piece of an asana, a yoga practice every week. It'll be from 3 to 4:30, so we'll have a full 90 minutes to be able to fill all of those pieces in. And what I'm excited about, and Katie and I discussed this, is in the past, sometimes the discussion at the meeting has been a rehashing of our homework inquiry, the inquiry that we spend the week answering and thinking about and working on. And I asked Katie this time if we can move the discussion beyond that. And so we're hoping to have deeper discussions more about our experience and what the week has been like and what we are discovering beyond just what the inquiry questions ask us. Because, quite frankly, some of the inquiry questions are also very intimate and very personal. And if you're being honest with yourself, which we hope you are, sometimes you don't want to share them, and that's fine. But sometimes it leaves the discussion kind of surface level, or nobody wants to share. So we're hoping to go a different way with the in studio discussion so that, like Katie said, we can hear about each other's experiences, but leave space for those of you that aren't ready to um, share the very deep personal things that you've opened up to. And maybe by week 6, you are ready to share those. So that'd be great too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit of the format.
Yeah, I love that it's going to be every meeting is going to be a complete package of the three practices and techniques that you mentioned: the meditation, the asana, the yoga practice, and the inquiry. And yeah, the excavation questions in the book are a little bit on the personal side. And it's great to like check in on those, but I think it's more valuable, like you're saying, in the meetings to generate a discussion that is new and different from the homework, because your homework is like something you do throughout the week that you have for yourself. And then when you come to the meeting, you can, whatever inquiry we've created for the meeting, which will be totally different, is going to be something to get you thinking on a different level about different things. And then you can carry that into your week, but also have those extra questions when you do your reading and so forth. So I think it's a really awesome plan. I'm super excited that we've come up with this format, and I think it's going to be really wonderful. So you did mention it's going to be from 3 to 4:30. It's going to be on Sundays. The first meeting is going to be on Sunday, October 1st, and that will be the day one of the program. And then the subsequent meetings will be each Sunday for 6 weeks. So we are super excited. I think we should also mention the other thing that we came up with as a little perk for our members at the studio.
Yeah. So if you are a member of Spotted Dog Studio already and you would like to introduce Spotted Dog to a friend by way of 40-day, then your registration fee for the program is free, and just bring your friend. It's a great way to get new people into the studio. And it's also an amazing way to be introduced to Spotted Dog and our yoga community here.
Yeah, the 40 days isn't something that you have to have already been a part of the studio at all. It's actually, like you said, it's a really great way to start, because you get all of those pieces that we teach in a complete package, and you're really committed to the practice for that 40-day time frame. So I think when people do that, their practice becomes more long lasting because they have more insight into how this practice can really be taken off the mat. And yeah, so if you're a member and you get someone to come, you get your registration paid for, which is super awesome. I think that's everything that we had to say, but maybe just one little last thing from Bonnie, who will be facilitating a little invitation to anyone who's listening to join and why you think that people should consider.
Yeah, thank you. 40 day, you've heard Katie and I talk about our different experience. No matter what you decide to bring into 40 day or to take out of 40 day, you will be a new person at the end of it. Something's going to happen. You cannot commit to this program and not have some type of life change, be it small or little. And I think no matter how long you've been practicing yoga or how many times you've done 40 days, come join us. Join this community that's starting in October, and it'll be like no other community you've had. So come. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And, you know, it's been great that we've been able to have like the virtual side of things over the past few years. Obviously, it became a necessity, and we've been so happy to have people be able to join classes and programs from afar. But I am really excited that this one is just in studio, because there's just some things
Yeah.
that aren't the same when you don't have that in-person connection. And I think we have a lot of new members at the studio. We have a lot of really great teachers at the studio, and it's just such a great way to bring this community together. And what a great time to do it, like right before the holidays get into full swing. So yes, like Bonnie said, no matter how many times you've done it or if you've never done it before, it's the right time for you. We hope that you join. And thank you for listening in to this episode of Play Hard and Love Big Radio, the official podcast of Spotted Dog Yoga and Sup in Folsom, California. You can listen on any of your favorite podcast platforms. You can even see us on YouTube, and you can even follow us, and then you'll get notified when we put up a new episode. And have an awesome day. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks, Katie.